I'm talking to Brad Jerrett, who's one of my colleagues from 3Cloud, and we're going to talk about work, work-life balance, and community when we come right back.
Yeah.
You've been with 3Cloud for how long now?
Oh, not long, not a year.
Yeah?
February is when I started.
Okay.
So what is that? You know, 6
it's,
months, 7 months, 8 months,
It's
somewhere
a few
in there.
months, but we've had an opportunity to work together a little bit in the Power BI analytics.
Yeah, and it's
community.
been great, right? Everybody's great.
Well, and you sent me a message at 2:45,
yeah,
to meet me here at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I know that you drove quite a distance to get here. And thank you for that. It's good,
no worries.
It's good to finally meet you in person. We've been in so many meetings together.
I know. That's why I was like, I'm there. I'm not missing it. I'm going to be there. I'm going to check out Chateau de Data. We're going to figure it out. It's going to be great. Right?
So it's been an interesting, year and a half or so as a few things have happened in our world. One, the pandemic hit.
Absolutely.
And of course, everything shut down, and we all learned very quickly to be very effective remote workers.
Mm-hmm.
I think in our industry, we were already doing that. A lot of us were, have been working remotely. I mean, I lived in Vancouver, Washington, working for a Jacksonville, Florida-based company, and so you do that remotely. It's just that,
that'd be an interesting commute every day.
But with the pandemic, we all went remote.
Yeah.
And then Pragmatic Works grew, and then we were acquired by 3Cloud, and 3Cloud, of course, is growing by leaps and bounds, and we're hiring. And
we just brought on a new organization.
Yes,
yeah.
we just brought on
great team, right? Great team.
And the company
Polaris.
Okay.
The Polarians, right?
The Polarians.
The Polarians.
You got the 3Clouders. Yeah. You got the.
I love the Pokemon reference. That's that's stuck in my head. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you look forward to in the next year or so? If the world returns back to some sense of normalcy, what would you like that balance to be in terms of working?
I've thought about this a long time, and I've talked to a lot of my friends about it, and everyone has a different opinion, right? And I think that is the answer. I think the varying opinion is the answer, right? I think that if you want to go into the office and see people, be around people, hold meetings, then go do that, right? If you don't, right, if you prefer to stay remote, you go into the office when you need to, then do that. I think the hybrid workforce is what the answer is.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's our new reality, isn't it?
And I think that's what works best for everyone. Everybody's different, right? I think in some cases, I would want to go into an office, play some pinball, have a meeting or two, right? But if you have an hour and a half commute,
sure,
I may not want to go into the office that often.
Well, and being a consulting services provider, we have clients who we need to build a relationship with, and that is not always, but often done by coming in, pressing the flesh, and meeting people, for real.
Yeah.
At least to kick off the engagement and to build a relationship.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that we're able to get back at least to the ability to do that.
Oh yeah, and I love travel, right? I like traveling. It's a fun thing to do. I think the world is your oyster, right? That's why it's here. I think a lot of people stay in one place all their lives and they miss that perspective, right? And I think
thus the data bus.
Yeah. Which is how much perspective have you gotten since?
Just in the last 3 weeks that we've been doing this. We've already experienced the Northwest, the Rocky Mountains, the Southwest, and now Texas.
Yeah.
So
it's late October, almost November, and it's 90 degrees. That's a big perspective.
And it's really cold and rainy back in Washington State, I can tell you.
So, but the people you meet, right? You were just talking about the clubs, right? Like you have this kind of following, right? Your camaraderie of people that you don't even know and never met, right? I think that's a big perspective that a lot of people miss. Yeah. And I think you only get that when you travel.
Yeah, agreed. So let's talk tech a little bit. So you've you have a background with enterprise scale business intelligence and data warehouse. So tell me briefly, kind of how you got started in your career and how you got to that point.
Oh, sure. So non-traditional,
Yeah.
100%. Right. I like I was telling you, my first job. Right, I actually hadn't even graduated undergrad, and I was working as an accountant. I was off to get my accounting degree. Right, is how I started, but only because I had never met a poor accountant. That was the whole reason why. Right? So like I felt like there was some job security there. My dad always said, "Hey, go work in utilities because everybody needs water." Right. That's just kind of how we thought, right, as West Virginians. But as I was working in that industry, and I worked with my prior work for 13 years prior to joining 3Cloud. But I started, what really brought me to data was logistics.
Okay.
So transportation is what really brought me to data. And large in part due to network and cube optimization. That was really what kind of hit the trigger for me. Right?
Okay, and explain that, cube optimization.
So cube optimization.
Sounds like that's a logistics term.
It's a heavy logistics
Yes.
term. I even think that's an Oracle logistics term. That came from Oracle, but Oracle has a TMS product that I was using. But cube optimization is how can you maximize the interior of a box truck.
Okay.
So how many, it's sort of like real life Tetris. Right? Like how can I fit these boxes into this truck to maximize the amount of product that truck can haul, right? So that takes into a lot of density type calculations, right? So your weight per cubic foot of space taken inside of a trailer, and when you work for, like I was working for an industrial distributor at the time, and our products were non-square.
Yeah.
Like not everything is a nice, box and fits in a nice, area. So like you've got, maybe valves that have a protruding, actuator or something to make it close fast, and it kind of looks like a T, right, or something. So how do you position those inside of a box truck to best get the most utilization?
Right, so you can ship as many as possible without damaging them.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you started in logistics, and you're managing data. What brought you to BI?
Yeah, so we did a ton of work with third-party firms. So we owned our own fleet of trucks, of course, but there were not as many of those trucks. So we did a lot of work with third-party logistics firms, like the people that haul like Yellow, Old Dominion, Saia, right? All the FedEx Freight, UPS Freight, right? All these different companies, being the sort of analyst in that space, it was a matter of how do I get the best price, right? How can I send the most for the least amount of money in the lanes that we operate in, right? So what I was doing is I was using, and it was Tableau back in the day. I almost think that's a sacrilegious word to say on this. Call.
It's a fine product.
But yeah, it was Tableau back in the day. This was pre-BI. This is pre-Power BI, right? So Power BI hadn't existed yet. But maybe
Power BI wouldn't
existed.
be where it is today if Tableau didn't exist.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so I was using Tableau to bring in a bunch of disparate sources of data. So I was bringing in feeds from all these different firms, and I was putting them together in dashboards so I could see my overall spend and how much money it cost me per pound to ship in each lane. And I was putting together dashboards, and my boss at the time was loving it. He was like, "This is great," right? For some strange reason, and I don't know why, but luckily for me, I guess, but the transportation arm of the organization reported up through the CIO at the time. So transportation reported up to IT, which was kind of strange, but that's the way it worked.
But so IT owns the data, and so that was under the CIO.
So that's kind of how it worked. But the CIO came to me and was like, "Hey, Brad, what you're doing is unbelievably awesome, but we really need to do it for the whole organization." And I was like, "Okay, let's do that. What does that look like?" And he's like, "Okay, we're going to create a department, right? We're going to call it data and analytics, enter Bill, and enter CDO position, and we built this data and analytics practice at the organization."
Okay. And so would it be accurate to say that you built a data culture within the organization?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's carried over a lot to what I bring to 3Cloud is my thoughts on data democratization and my thoughts on open source tools and how talent grows. Like that's just ingrained in me about building that type of data culture, that data transformation or data literacy is what we called it.
Okay.
But
so the ultimate balance in BI and analytics, I think, and I think that this is different in different organizations, is the balance between IT ownership of data, locking down data sources and, managing and securing those data sources. And you use the term democratization, opening that up so that the business can do their own work, so that they can solve business problems. So what do you think the right balance is between, data ownership by those who, they safeguard the data, and business owners or business workers who can use that data to do their jobs?
Yeah, and I think that's a really good question. And my term of democratization, right, is more let the citizen reign.
Okay.
Right? Let the citizen drive. Because those domain experts, and I say this whenever we were hiring people as well, I was like, look, I can teach you tech, but I can't teach you domain knowledge. Right? Like if you bring accounting experience, or if you bring financial reporting experience, or even if you bring supply chain management experience, right? I can teach you how to do these things technically, but it's hard for me to teach you how to do supply chain management, right? That's just, you have to go to school for a while to figure that out.
Yeah, well, and do the job and see it work.
See it happening, negotiate the contract, see what happens when you do things wrong, right? I mean, I think the only reason somebody's an expert at something is because they've just failed enough times at it to be good. So, I mean, learning through that experience. But I think the answer is completely democratizing the data, right? Let everybody grab what they need when they need it. And I think that's where...
How do you do that and keep it secure?
Exactly, right? So I think what I've been doing lately is a lot of the lakehouse design.
Within 3Cloud, I think that we use the term community a lot. Why is that an important term? Why is that an important concept? What does it mean to you?
So community, I think what it really speaks to me is just I'll have to say, a group of like-minded individuals working towards a common goal, right?
Okay.
And there's not really a hierarchy in a community.
You're a relatively intense individual in terms of, I mean, I've seen you pick up, new technologies and new products. You're working with Databricks.
Yeah,
now,
love Databricks.
Which I know is new. It's new for all of us.
Oh yeah.
You've picked it up and you've gained some significant expertise in a short time, which is awesome.
Yeah. It's a Python background thing, I think.
Yeah. But my point is that you have this intensity where you're learning new things and you're burning the midnight oil. But how do you offset that? What's the work-life balance equation for you?
So this is a difficult one for me because I tend to grab onto something and not let go, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of like a shark when it comes to that kind of thing. Once you get your teeth in it, you're not letting go until it's yours. And I do that with everything, right? I'm just a very intense, right? Like with my car, right? Immediately lift tires. Let's go to Colorado for a week.
Take it to the limit.
Let's go to the limit, right? That's how it works. And I think that's just how I treat everything in life, right? I think if it's worth doing, it's worth doing 110%.
Okay.
Right. So and that's how I go through it, right?
All right.
So like if it's like taking some time away, right? I think is a key thing, and I think travel forms a lot of that for me.
Okay.
So getting outside of my comfort zone. I think greatness happens at the end of your comfort zone. Like when you're not really exactly sure what you're doing, that's when you're going to have a breakthrough.
Okay. Well, that's a bumper sticker right there. Or a T-shirt.
Yeah. Well, maybe I should make T-shirts. Hey, let's go buy a press, right? But no.
So what's your favorite pastime? As you're getting away then?
Oh man, I'm a huge gamer.
Okay.
I like to play tons of video games. I am a huge gamer. I'll play on any platform. It doesn't matter. So I'm heavy into video games. So I like playing video games a lot. My son, who's 9, right? Huge into Halo, right? Loves Halo, right? So every time
my son was, boy, he was a Halo nut.
Yeah. So every time he comes downstairs, he wants to play Halo, right? So we'll play Halo together. But spending time with the ones you love, getting out, seeing new things, right? Experiencing new things, right? I've been in Houston for 3 or 4 years now, and obviously there's still stuff I haven't done yet.
Yeah, there's a lot to see here.
Yeah. So we were talking, going through the interview process, and it was, questions about, hey, where do you see yourself? What do you want to be? And I was like, look, as long as I get to build cool stuff, that's what I want to do.
Yep.
So here I am building cool stuff.
Awesome. Well, good. Well, thank you, Brad.
Yeah.